7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's now time for the Pony Cake Sports Podcast with your hosts, Josh Stevens, Tim Thompson, and Tom Schultz. Woo!
Hey there, everybody. We are back with another episode, and as always, I'm here with Tim and Tom, minus Tom, just Tim. Tim, how's it going?
I'm doing fantastic. A little bit disappointed that there's no Tomas Perez today, but as I said as we were talking prior, I just got done watching Very Cavallari, Kristen Cavallari's new show, and while you may think it doesn't have much to do with football, one Jay Cutler is in it. He's fantastic. He's mad. He hates his wife's friends. He's dull. He's boring. He's everything that he was on the Chicago Bears. It's actually just much funnier now because it's his real life and his wife is genuinely scared of him.
Very interesting.
And that's why he's you.
He's me.
Yep. You guys are the same person, sir. Hate to burst your bubble there. Anyone who hasn't watched it, don't go watch the whole show, but at least go give Jay Cutler's lines a few looks. It is worth your time.
Tim, what are we talking about today?
Today we are doing cut, trade, kill. No, cut, keep, trade, trade.
Keep, cut, trade.
Whatever. I'm trying to think of the wrong way that you say it to make it sound right, but I can't.
Say
keep, cut, trade is the way it should be.
I say trade, cut, keep.
Yeah, it's this very stupid thing to say.
Keep, cut, trade, and who are the players?
Today we have JuJu SMith-Schuster, AR15 Allen Robinson, and Amari Cooper.
There we
not
go.
Cooper Cup.
Not Cooper
Leading
Cup.
up, Josh told me Cooper. I was looking at Cooper Cup stats, and he wanted Amari Cooper. So that's what we are doing now.
Again, this is all with players around the same ADP, which is, again, average draft position for the wide receiver position. Amari Cooper is going off the board as the 17th wide receiver. Pretty crazy to think about saying that. AR15 is going off as the 19th overall wide receiver. And JuJu SMith-Schuster is going off the board as the 20th wide receiver. All in the fourth round, in the middle, around the fourth pick to the eighth pick. Pretty interesting with these three guys here.
It's very interesting, but it also helps just confirm what I said last week. People who play fantasy football are idiots.
Why?
Most of them don't, because the fact that Amari Cooper is ranked in front of JuJu SMith-Schuster is stupidity at its finest.
Really? You think so?
Stupidity at its absolute finest.
You said rated higher than JuJu?
No, isn't he? You said he's 19 and JuJu's 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's being drafted before JuJu SMith-Schuster.
You don't think he should be drafted?
Stupidity at its finest. I know you and Tom always think, "Oh, Tim's going to come on here and say something stupid." You did not think that I would say that, but I've done my research, sir. It's a terrible, terrible decision. Even AR15 is drafted just barely before Amari Cooper?
No, right after.
Right after.
Amari Cooper, 17.
Amari Cooper's the first one, so he's 17. I'm sorry, I thought you said. So AR15's 18? 19?
Amari 17, AR 19.
Right.
JuJu Smith.
2 picks before AR15. Absolutely not. Blasphemy.
All right.
Go ahead and guess. You know what? I'm going to cut you off, sir. I'm going to start with cut. I'm cutting Amari Cooper.
Wow.
I'm tired, Amari. I'm tired, buddy. Okay? There's 2 stud wide receivers from the University of Alabama in the National Football League right now. They go by the name of Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley, not Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper has been the definition of disappointment.
I'll give you a stat line last year. It was a very disappointing stat line. He had 48 receptions, 680 yards, and 7 touchdowns. 7 touchdowns is really good for the 48 receptions that he had. JuJu SMith-Schuster, on the other hand, had 58 for 917 and 7 touchdowns.
JuJu is on a much more high-power offense.
It is.
He is a valuable weapon. They pretty much said, "Hey, Martavis Bryant, we don't need you." And JuJu SMith-Schuster came in last year and just slid right in. Perfect downfield threat, a regardless of what the big names do, the Antonio Browns and the Le'Veon Bells of the world, JuJu Smith-Schuster is still going to get his, simply because he's so different than both of those guys. His role on the team is defined, and he's going to continue doing what he's doing. Amari Cooper, on the other hand, had one, oh gosh, I'm blanking now on the stupid idiot's name, the former 49er.
Michael Crabtree.
Thank you. Had Michael Crabtree come into the game and take his spot, take his success, take everything that was his. Michael Crabtree came in there and made Amari Cooper average. That's just a fact. I don't think there's any debating that.
Michael Crabtree did have 58 receptions, 618 yards, and 8 touchdowns.
Yeah.
But Michael Crabtree is now gone.
Correct. But is the confidence there for Cooper? Is the relationship there between him and Carr? This is season number 4?
Yeah, I believe this is
season 4. Yeah, because he was drafted the same. Or no, it has to be season 5. He was drafted the same year as Kevin White. Kevin White went. No, it's season 4, because then both of them are going to have the team options for a 5th season. And the Bears wanted Cooper that year. They got Kevin White. Apparently, trash is trash, Josh. I don't know what to tell you. Cooper only slightly better than Kevin White.
So, looking at the wide receivers for the Oakland Raiders, you have Amari Cooper, who has some sort of repertoire, some sort of chemistry with Mr. Carr as quarterback. You have Jordy Nelson, who I think it's safe to say is kind of at the twilight of his career. Martavis Bryant, we don't know if he's going to be 100% ready to go for the season. There's talk about the possible suspension or a suspension looming. There's no real confirmation. We're just going to assume Martavis Bryant will be good to go. Other than that, they have Seth Roberts, who is still there. They have Ryan Switzer, who they traded for with the Dallas Cowboys. And then they have a rookie in Marcel Aitman. I actually really like Marcel Aitman. I think he is actually going to be a pretty good fit with this team if given a chance. But again, he's buried way on the bottom of the depth chart. But Amari Cooper, he's the one that has the most chemistry with Carr.
Yeah,
you can't take that away.
No, he does.
But you have to take away all those receptions and all those touchdowns that Michael Crabtree did have with this team, and they're going to go to somebody. You could say Martavis Bryant, but honestly, Martavis Bryant is more of your deep threat. So I think if he's going to get any of those targets or any of those receptions, maybe 15 to 20 of those receptions. I would say 15 of those receptions.
Josh, let me stop you. You can say a lot of things.
Yeah.
What I believe is that the Oakland, soon to be Las Vegas Raiders, are on a downward spiral. They have Carr, who was set up to be a premier quarterback in this league. The year that his offensive line gave up, one sack the whole year, right before the playoffs, he gets sacked. Broken leg. Ends his year and pretty much ruined his year last year as well. He wasn't the same guy. I feel like that's safe to say. You have Michael Crabtree. He has his success. They bring in Marshawn Lynch. Does nothing. Barely competes. They lose Crabtree. They have Cooper. They're still trying to find that. Lynch is what he is. And what do? They bring back Chucky.
Yeah.
And what does he do? He goes out and has quite possibly the worst NFL draft. Not only in team history, but in NFL history. He has a terrible draft. I would say bottom of the barrel, at least bottom 2 in this draft. I think the worst one overall, hands down. They are in a downward spiral. Their offensive line is getting worse. You saw their offensive line that was so good last year fighting fans on the way out.
That was awesome.
This is the final year that they're in Oakland.
Actually, when Donald Penn did do that,
yep.
You know what that reminded me a lot of? The scene out of The Replacements where they pull the gun out, where the offensive guards do that. That actually entertained me quite a bit.
I am going to go out on a limb right now, July 10th, 2018, and say the Oakland Raiders are going to be a bottom 10 team in the league. I know that's a reach. I know they should be way, way better than that. I just feel like they have the perfect recipe for disaster on their team right now. They need to... It could be one of those situations that is, high risk, high reward.
Yeah.
So they very well might be what I thought they'd be last year, 13-3. In my humble opinion, they are going to go out this year and just get embarrassed multitude of times. 5-win team.
Just looking at some of these years while Mr. Chucky was the head coach of a couple of these teams, their offense, passing offense, was 4th in the league, 6th in the league, 11th in the league, 15th in the league, 14th in the league. So good top half multiple times when he was the head coach of some of those teams. So, in my opinion, my keep is going to be Amari Cooper. As funny as you say that you're going to cut Amari Cooper, my keep out of these three guys is going to be Amari. And I kind of alluded to it a little bit beforehand. But I will talk about my cut. And I don't think you're going to be happy with it.
Probably not.
But it's going to be AR15. And the reason why, not because of his talent, because he does have talent, not because I don't believe in him being able to bounce back from his torn ACL, it is because it is the Chicago Bears and Mitchell Trubisky, and they're now going to be in year 2 of this rebuild with a brand new head coaching staff, and I just don't know exactly what that offense is going to do. That is the only reason why, and the fact that they brought in a lot of other mouths to feed in that offense. It is just a lot to go around. It reminds me, and we say it all the time, it reminds me exactly what the Rams have been doing. Not bringing in the same type of players, but bringing in enough talent to spread the ball around to where I don't think that there is going to be a de facto number 1 wide receiver, with the fact that they drafted a wide receiver as well.
I like the de facto use there.
Very
good, sir. I don't know if I agree. You see, I would agree more if the Bears had a more dynamic or athletic running back.
Yeah.
Outside, they have Jordan Howard, which isn't that at all. He's a standard running back.
And the great Tariq Cohen.
They have Tariq Cohen, but he hasn't, there's a lot of question marks there, especially going into his second year. Can he, listen, it's one thing to do it for a year. It's another thing to maintain that Darren Sproles-esque, aura, if you would.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to be successful just strictly out of, he's the most talented player on that team, and he has weapons surrounding him. So there's going to be a lot of, I think he's going to end up being one of the safety nets for Mitchell Trubisky, and he's the reason why you and I are going to have the same argument for our trade.
Yeah.
My trade is one Allen Robinson. Name value goes back to what we talked about last week. Amari and AR15 are very similar in name value. I think it's a big-time argument. You put stats against stats, even with that injury in there. I would want AR15 on my team more than Amari Cooper right now. Outside of Amari Cooper's rookie season, there's nothing that impresses me. There's nothing that I want on my team. He's a big-bodied guy who shows flashes, but if anything, anyone who's ever had him on their team...
He did drop a wide-open touchdown last year.
...knows how frustrating it is to have him on their team. I'll never forget that. They were on the 2-yard line. I'll never forget that. He's just consistently frustrating in his NFL career. I am interested to see how it plans out. Listen, AR-15 might come out and be terrible. We don't know. Risk reward, I want AR-15 next year over Amari Cooper.
My trade is none other than JuJu SMith-Schuster.
Wow, I am shocked.
It's an interesting spot where it's at right now. You look at the fact that you have Ben Roethlisberger going one more year into his career, and I just think that they are going to, I don't want to say tone it down a little bit, but you look at the other wide receiver that they drafted, James Washington. He will be used in that role that Martavis Bryant was used in, and he will be used all season long. And I think that with JuJu Smith-Schuster, he did have 58 receptions, 917 yards, and 7 touchdowns. But a lot of that production was when Antonio Brown was out. And that is the big mismatch when you're looking at these stats. When you look at JuJu Smith-Schuster, let's see. His big games that he had. Week 17, Week 16, Week 15, Week 10, and Week 8. So I'm just going to go down that list. 8, 10, 15, 16, 17. 8, 10, 15, 16, 17. Week 8, Antonio Brown had 12 points. 10, Antonio Brown had 7 points. 15, 4. 16 and 17, he didn't play. That's where I'm comparing the stats with. Every other game, Antonio Brown had 20 or more points for the most part, besides week number 7.
Listen, Antonio Brown's going to get his. There's no doubt about that. I think, if anything, the addition of James Washington helps him. If you're telling me that they're going to have times where there's Le'Veon Bell in the backfield and they got a 3 wide receiver set with JuJu on one side paired right next to Antonio Brown, and they have James Washington on the other side, who do you think is the third worry, or the third option right there? It's JuJu. They have to worry about Washington downfield. They have to worry about Antonio Brown wherever Antonio Brown wants to go. JuJu Smith-Schuster has the ability and the opportunity to be the lone real wide receiver on that team. Antonio Brown's an enigma. Listen, there's not many guys out there who are going to be 6 feet tall, 180 pounds, and do the things like Antonio Brown does.
Agreed.
It's a special individual. James Washington is all of 5'6", maybe 5'8", but regardless, a small guy who's a speedster to get downfield. JuJu's not the biggest guy. He's not, your 6'2", 220 type wide receiver, but he is an able-bodied wide receiver. He has great hands. He has very good speed, and those, he showed he can be successful in games that Antonio Brown are. There's a lot of mouths to feed in Pittsburgh. Regardless of that, JuJu is my keep because he's going to still get his opportunities, not especially with Big Ben Roethlisberger at quarterback. They throw the ball around. They have throughout.
Now, I do agree with the fact that you said that AR15 and Amari Cooper do have name value. Mm-hmm. But I think now JuJu Smith-Schuster is creeping up there as well. And the reason why, and you look at the other guys, they've been around the league a couple years longer, but you look at JuJu Smith-Schuster, everybody loves the fact that he is paired up with Antonio Brown. They know who Martavis Bryant was, and they know Martavis Bryant is gone. They know that JuJu Smith-Schuster got his bike stolen and got his bike back and did a crazy-ass touchdown dance with that. I think the Steelers were voted best celebrations for scoring touchdowns last year. He is known around the league. He's known around fantasy players. So I think that is another reason why I'm pairing it up with my trade. I think that I could trade JuJu Smith-Schuster away and get a player that's rated probably even a little bit higher than him. Maybe like a Tyreek Hill, a Stephon Diggs, or a Larry Fitzgerald if it's a year-to-year league. Or a redraft league, I'm sorry.
I simply don't agree. I simply don't agree at all. I think that with stupid people, you're going to have, hey, AR15, Donald Trump, that's cool. Oh, hey, friggin' Amari Cooper, Alabama Roll Tide, that's cool. Chucky's on their coach now. They're going to dominate. They're saying, JuJu Smith-Schuster, yeah, it's a fun name. Yeah, people like it, but I think at the end of the day, people go back and the same things that I was listing as benefits, the normal eye is going to view as a downfall. Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown, James Washington, Ben Roethlisberger, who likes to vulture a couple red zone touchdowns every once in a while himself. Just a multitude of different touchdown vultures in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And as much as they like the name, I just don't think it carries the weight that you think it does.
All right, Tim. Anything else?
No.
It's kind of a fun discussion with those guys.
It was. I was happy that I got to stay away from one AR15. I didn't talk about it much because I do have high hopes for him. Typical Chicago Bears fashion. they go out there and try to make a big splash in the offseason. We'll see if it actually pays off for a change this time. Last big wide receiver the Chicago Bears brought in was via trade, and his name was Brendan Marshall. So, see what happens.
Hope you guys enjoyed our ADP discussion about not ADP discussion, I'm sorry, the keep cut trade discussion. Well, ADP should be coming up in the next couple episodes. Our keep cut trade discussion that we had on these three wide receivers, Amari Cooper, JuJu SMith-Schuster, and AR15. Do yourselves a favor, email us, ponykicksports@gmail.com, follow us on Twitter, @ponykicksports, @FightTalkTim, @pony_keg_Tom, and until next time.
Peace!